All right, so let's do this. As you can see, it's a huge box. How do I compare it to something that you can all understand? Hang on. So this is, like I showed you earlier, is a Legionnaire box, a huge box. So I hope you guys don't mind. I have to do this unboxing on the floor. I think this is the biggest unboxing I've ever done. All right, so this is the top of the box. As you can see, the artwork, which if you've been following the developments of Hail Caesar, is already pretty normal. I mean, you've seen this before. The art on the side of the box is this is the Carthage side, and then you got, oh my gosh, you know, a little bit of different text in different languages, and then you got the Roman side over here, and then you got the elephants right there. Now let's look at the back of the box very quickly. Ooh. Now, as you can see, it already tells you what you're going to get in the box, and we're going to open the box in a while, so hang tight for a bit. And these are all the whole list of things that we're going to get. Now, I'll be using the Wargames Illustrated, what's in this, in order for me to keep track of what's in the box. But as you can see, it already comes with like transfers and charts and stuff like that. But let me just say that it also comes, if you did this on pre-order, it comes with the poor Parish Pachyderm, the elephant, dead elephant, and this you only get if you pre-order the set, which is what I did. By the way, this unboxing is in no way sponsored by Warlord Games. This was bought with my own money. So this unboxing is done with my own expenditure. So any help with a like and subscribe will be hugely appreciated. Yeah. So let's not waste any more time. Let's remove the plastic wrapper and get to it. Ooh. Right, so there you go. Let's do this. Let's lift the box. Oh my goodness. All right, that's the lid. Let's put it aside. First off, you see you get the I think this is the rule book, and I think this is part some of the terrain. We're going to look through that in a bit. You get let me see, what's this? The painting guide, assembly and painting guide, which is rather helpful. All right, and then you've got the assembly for the watchtower, which is also quite cool. And then you got another extra assembly and painting guide in case that you and a friend are splitting this box. There's one for each of you to choose from. I mean, to use. Now, what else we got here? We got the play sheet. Look at that. I'm not so sure what this is. I think this is how you organize your organizer, I think. I got double check what it is. I haven't read the rule book, but look at that. It looks like it though. It looks like how you organize your troops. Here, another one. You get two. You organize your troops and stuff like that. And then you get I think this is the, let me see now, fast-paced board game recreating. Oh, okay. So you got the Scipio. Oh, there you have it. It's the board game version of the game. Oh, that's nice. That's extremely interesting. So you're gonna, if you get the set, you can actually, you know, play this in board game fashion. So you actually have that makes sense. That's why you have like two sets. Oh, that's kind of brilliant. So you get a free board game inside your tabletop war game. Scipio. Dude, that's really excellent. Yeah, the Scipio board game, which comes with the set. Now, let's look at this bit over here. Now, they've got this quick reference for range attacks, hand-to-hand combat, and stuff like that. Okay, now comes the tricky part of the box, because once you take these out, it's gonna be a torture to put them back together. But let's do this one at a time. Alright, so you got some sprues, and these are the I want to say allies, I think. Let's have a look at the can you see the detail in this? It's very nice looking figures. There's not much light. There's some shadow here which I'm trying to block out, but not succeeding. As I say, I'm doing this on the floor, so it's a bit difficult to control the sprue. I think this is the ally sprue, if I'm not mistaken. There's two of those, and then you have I think this is the Carthaginian sprue. Very nice. Of course, the Carthaginians don't benefit from the Roman tree rank setup. It's only 2 ranks, so I think folks painting the Carthaginians will do a little bit extra work, but you know, I'm sure it will all be worth it. Let me see, how many of these do you get? Ooh, quite a few. Quite a few. Let's go deeper. Oh, more than quite a few. I think you get let me see now. Let's look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these sprues. Same types. Now, if you're attempting to do this by collecting Wargames Illustrated, that's 10 copies of the magazine, which makes this box so much cheaper. So yeah, that's 10 sprues, Carthaginians. We're gonna put that over on the side here, and then we got, let's go deep. And we got the Roman sprue. That's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10 sprues. Very quickly, let's look at the Roman sprue here. This is the now, if you haven't checked, we actually have a painting video for the Roman sprue. Hopefully by the time you see this, later, you already see a link to me painting this particular frame. Now you get this frame with Wargames Illustrated, and it's kind of neat because it's got this new method of stacking up infantry or piling on infantry. There's 3 stands to a base, which I think is quite nice. So 10 sprues of this, and then you get your bases. I want to assume that these are pretty standard. Yeah, it looks pretty standard. I've painted a few of the Wargames Illustrated free frames, and I had to get some of these in order for me to play. In fact, I think they all stand because I actually have the Napoleonic epic battles, and the frames look the bases look almost the same, all of them. Even more frames. I like the fact that they also have how to put this nicely. They have a way of making sure everything is like pretty standardized. So your frontages are pretty the same, and your depth is pretty much the same. It's just that what's on the base which differs, whether it's cavalry or infantry and stuff like that. There's even more. There's even more frames over here. All to stack to the side. And then you see you get I think more of the ally frames. I think I could be wrong. I got to double check what they are. These are the ally frames. And then you get these. These are the transfers, which you could add to your figures as you paint. Let's have a look. Oh, they're really nice. They are really, really nice. You could go to town with this. I mean, have a really nicely done up army with decals and all. Decals are pretty tricky if you're brand new, but there are enough tutorials online for you to see how to use decals. But I totally appreciate that they give decals, which makes me wonder how I'm gonna add on to the frame I already painted, because now these ones, the ones that I paint now, will actually have decals, which are much better than the ones before. But of course, the amount of work involved, I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to use decals and just freehand, but I appreciate that they gave you a stack of decals here. Moving along, I got the highlights of the show. I want to call them the highlight for the show because I was really excited when I saw this. These are the pachyderms, the elephants, and you got 4 frames of the elephants. Let me just show you the frame. Ooh, nice, nicely stuck together like that, so they don't like crush each other. There, look at that. It's really nice. It's a 2-piece, and then the heads are another piece. Then you got the riders and the base. It's a separate base. Very cool. I mean, not much variety for oh wait, there are not much variety for heads. There are like 2 kinds of heads, but you get 4 of these, which is basically 2 elephants each. That's 8 elephants. You get a stack of dice, you know, in case you didn't have dice and you want to play with it. Ooh, let's see who packed this one. This one was packed by Alexandra. Thanks, Alexandra. Your packing work got itself all the way to Malaysia, right there. Oh, but this one's packed by Mirella. So thanks, Mirella and Alexandra, both of you. Thanks so much. Like I said, your handiworks all the way here had got itself all the way to Malaysia. Let's see what else we got here. We got the general set. The generals are in I think plastic as well. What's the resin? Let me see if we can open this. Openable. Let me try here. Ooh, yes. It's openable. This one's packed by Cosmina. Thanks, Cosmina. 3 people helping to pack 1 box. Oh, look at that. See, that's really, the detail is really nice. I really like it. Detail on the generals. That's one of them, and that's the other. Oh, very cool looking. I'm really sorry about the shadow, guys. I'm doing this unboxing on the floor. It was very difficult to get some lights going. Yeah, having said that, each of the frames, infantry frames, actually comes with a commander as well. For commanders for each division and stuff like that, divisional commanders. Okay, moving along, let's see what we got here. We got I want to say these are the allies. I can think these are allies. I gotta look through the whole sprue to see which one is which and how they're stacked up, but oh man, look at that. Oh, there's some really nice poses here, and I think the quality of the casting has improved really a lot over the course of the last few years, ever since they released their first sprue frame for Waterloo. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of this particular frame. I'm not sure what it is. I'll probably transfer this later to the table where we can actually look at the frame properly one at a time. And then, because it's a different color, we can assume this is a different army altogether. And we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. Yep, 6. And let's see, these I think the ally. I keep saying allies over and over again, but you know what I'll do? I'll actually look at each frame on its own, under more light and a better camera, better position. But this is basically what you see, what you get in the box. 6 of these. Whoa! So whole lot of frames and whole lot of figures in your in your pre-order set. Of course, the main set will be the same, except we don't have this guy over here. Let's see whether I can open this to show you what's in the come on. Oh, there you go. This is the free pre-ordered package. Oh, looks nice. Oh, it looks very nice. Okay, so that one's packed by Alice. Thanks, Alice. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's the unboxing of the Hannibal set, Punic Wars. Whoa, that's a huge box. I'll put everything in front of you again, but it's all over the place. I don't want to stack. I don't want to mess things up, but it's a chock full of figures, I must say. Chock full of figures. It's gonna be a horror putting them back together again. But having said that, let me just say that it looks like they've got winner here. Definitely a winner in terms of like, oops, sorry. There's like frames, amount of frames and stuff like that you get inside, and the fact that you also have the you know, the decals and the, you know, of course I'm really excited about the elephants. Yeah, don't mind me. Peter, dice, and the stacks and stacks of bases, which you definitely will need. So I think the only thing to do now is to look at each frame on its own. So let's get to that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a look inside this little packet over here. Let's see what we get. Nicely bubble wrapped, and we get the rulebook. I'll do a flip through of the rulebook. It's basically Hail Caesar, done smaller. In fact, if I was you, I'd get a book this size, because you know, later when you're playing the game, even when you're playing, you know, Hail Caesar at a larger scale, this rulebook can help. And then you get that. Look at that. That's the tower right there. Done by Maria. It's a very nice looking tower. It's the Roman watchtower. Excellent. So yeah. All right. With that reference, here we are trying to figure out each of the frames one by one. Some will be more obvious than the others. Like for example, this one. This is the Roman frame, and these have the three: the Hastati, Precipice, Principes, and the Triari. And you have the commander figure. Like I said, on each of these frames, you'll get your commander figure. Let me see. Commander figure looks really good, you know, and you know, your cavalry and your skirmishes. We actually did a painting of this frame, so there'll be a link much later to painting of this frame. But if you're catching this as it comes out, give us about a week for us to paint this frame. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first frame, which I already know what it is. Now comes the hard parts. This is the because of the color, I'm gonna assume that this is the Roman part of the frame, and I think these the cavalry figures. Um, I'm not so sure whether these are the Italian cavalry figures or. I wanna say they are. Oops. Okay, but regardless the sculptor arena, let's look at the infantry. Yeah, really nice looking infantry. My grasp of this era, uh, Romans is not really that great, to be honest. I mean, as the Roman Empire expanded, there were a lot of allies. I want to assume that this is the allies crew. Yeah, the sculpts for the epic range has definitely gotten so much better. I look forward to like putting this on bases and rolling some dice with it. Really cool stuff. Really nice. Like I said, the only tricky part about stuff about these frames as opposed to these frames is this one. You know, you just paint the front and the backs of two, and then you know you assemble. This one is front and back of both. Oh, you know, do one really nicely on the front, one really nicely on the back. But this is more conventional, epic battle style of painting. Okay, let's let's get to where I might get confused, and if I do, I really apologize. Because like I said, you know, this is my first time looking at them very quickly, without a reference. But just I want to just show you the figures and how good they are. So if I get any of them wrong, you know, I'm very sorry. But over here, we see, I think this could be the Libyans. You know, I can only imagine the the decals on these, right? Oh, they will all look really, really good. But I think a lot of patience is required with decals on this basis on this shields. So I would highly recommend taking a day off to have decal day to put them together. Look at the figures; they're really quite nice looking, and I'm sure you get a commander here as well. Look at that, really nice looking figures. Like I said, they've really improved on sculpts. Even more. I think even more allies here. Really nice looking. Uh, I'm cheating here and checking the list. I don't think these are goals. I think not. I'll have to double check the list. Maybe. Oh, maybe. Maybe goals. Maybe not. Maybe Spanish. I'm not so sure. I got double check. So I'm really really sorry. Identification is not very good. For me at the moment. Um, yeah, but I'm not looking at the frames. Really really nice. I think once I sit down, I'm still like really excited about the whole unboxing thing. So once I sit down and go through each frame one at a time, this will be figured out. But like I said, the tricky part is, like I said, lots of different bases, and you want some variety. And irregular troops are not one of my strongest suits, so this is a torture on a frame for me. Yeah, and then you got a smaller frame, more allies. This might be the goals. Might be. Yeah, yeah. I think these are the goals. Um, the Gaelic troops. That's really nice. Really, really nice. Very action packed. And then you got your commander here. Let's look at the commander. Nice looking commander right there. I mean, a lot of patience and a small brush. These guys are fantastic. I'm sorry. They're fantastic. And then the elephants. You have only choice of two heads to ears, and then heads to ears. But it's all right. It's okay. There you go. But the howdah, is that what they call it? The howdah on top. Very very cool. So these are the frames. If I'm gonna use the Warlord games way of doing things, these are the Carthaginian frames, and these are the Roman frames. So when you actually, if let's say you split the box with a friend, if you take the Romans, you're committed to painting a whole lot of infantry over and over and over again. If you're doing Carthaginians, you're doing a whole lot of variety, which each has its own small hell and small torture, but it tells you what you're gonna go for. But of course, if you got the whole box for yourself, then I would recommend doing one frame, one Roman frame, and then going back and forth. Slow and steady wins the day. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a look at the Scipio, and this is actually a bonus. It says here it's a bonus game that they put into the Hail Caesar Hannibal set. I think this is brilliant. You get two games in one, and I think this is a brilliant idea. So I'm surprised it wasn't done sooner, because let me just say that the biggest thing about getting yourself a huge box set is you want to get into it and play with it immediately. And usually that requires you to have some time assembling. Even the assembly time would probably take you a little bit of a while to put together for you to have a game. But this one, now when you actually get your Hannibal set, what you can actually do is you can pull this one out immediately, rush to the dinner table, and actually have a game. Now, all of the rules are in this small rule book over here, and it's how you play with the figures. Now you won't use all the figures, but it will get you into rolling some dice as soon as possible. which is fantastic because that's what you want. You want to play a game immediately when you get it. And Scipio is like I said, I'm surprised it was not done sooner. It is a brilliant idea. So you know John Lambshead and Rick Priestley, excellent. Thank you for this. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this is a bonus thing. Let me see. Let's read it right here. The Scipio board game is a quick pace, easy to learn game included as a bonus. There you go, bonus. In the Hail to the Epic Battles Hannibal battle set, the game enables you to play out battles between Romans and Carthaginians during the Second Punic War. Scipio makes use of some, but not all, of the pieces included in the Hail Caesar Epic Battles Hannibal battle set. As a board game, it is not necessary to paint the pieces to play. You get to play straight away should you prefer. Oh, excellent. We have included a paper battle board because we do not want to impose the additional costs of a thicker board on players who purchase our box with the intention of playing Hail Caesar. Those who want to play Scipio more frequently may wish to either paste the paper on the board into a thicker card. Yeah. Okay. So the board you're talking about is this board over here, which during the unboxing I was wondering what on earth this was. But there you go. That's a board right there. It's big. It's a huge board, and I think you get two of these, so you can stack up two of these against with one above the other, or one side by side to the other like this. You get both boards, so you get player one and player two's board. And then these are the rules. Nice figures. It's nice because right out of the box they actually show you what you can do uh, in order for you to identify very quickly. They also realize that some of the folks who are actually getting this box set might probably be new and will have some trouble identifying. So I totally appreciate them doing this. Keeping an eye on the new player is extremely important to me, and I'm glad that they do realize this. So yeah, this is the rules. The description of the different units from light infantry all the way to heavy cavalry, and a little bit of tactics right there. I haven't read it, so I'm not so sure how much tactics it is. And then you got initial deployment. Now they say that this is a board game, so I would assume that it it has a sequence which is similar to most board games. Move, initiative, stuff like that. And this is where they do it. I'm not so sure whether the deployment is standard or whether players choose. We'll figure that out. But it's kind of nice because as with every you know Warlord games product, they actually have little things like this. Historical note: in ancient times, one of the functions of the light infantry screen was to hide deployment from the enemy, and we represent this by allowing the light infantry to deploy ahead to the sides of the main force, which is great. Adding a little bit of historical relevance to the rules itself. This is kind of cool because when you bring have a friend over, you can actually sit down, play this first, and while you're getting your armies ready, painting and stuff like that. And then you've got the stats, and then as with most rule sets, clarification of rules, how to do combat and stuff like that. And then winning the game, campaign victory points, how to use elephants, what furious charges, and elephant behavioral table, which is cool. So this is your bonus in your Hannibal set. So when you get your Hannibal epic battles Hail Caesar Hannibal set, this will be free in your box. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Look at the box, the unboxing. Again, this video is not sponsored by Warlord Games. I had to use my own cash to get this set, and it's really awesome. It's filled with a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm very happy with it. So if you like this video, show support with like and subscribe, and don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.